going is sort of my desktop eventually, um, to sort of show a few tricks and things I've learned over the years with Windows. So yeah, I'll wait like another minute.
Paul, I just want to thank you in advance for not just this class, but helping folks along the way in the last 6 weeks or whatever that have needed some tech support. It's been great to have a few people that we can call on to walk people through some of the complexities of getting up to speed on Zoom, basically. Thank you.
Well, that and I'm on now the communication board. So, start working with Suzanne on the website. All right, I think I'll get started. For the few people that don't know my history, I've been, pretty much working in the IT industry since 2007. And my current job is at Northwestern University, doing what I call is, security and compliance. So a lot of what I call like behind the scenes work, and building out stuff for, securing and controlling all our computers. And then on the side, when I'm not busy at work, I go around and help, people within the community at their houses with their computers or, iPads or whatever device that they're, need a little extra help with. I also have done some websites recently for some small businesses in the area. And I, hope to do more of those after all of this. So what I sort of wanted to go through today, sort of get a, give an overview of sort of how Zoom works. Obviously, we were all able to connect to Zoom, so that's a good start. But when I'm in meetings, even with my own IT counterparts, it's sort of, crazy what people have trouble with. But hopefully I can, help with some of these weird things with Zoom specifically. And then, I'll sort of end that section with, if anyone has any questions, with what I just showed. And the biggest part really for this was to show, how to navigate Windows 10. It's a somewhat newer operating system. The previous large operating system was Windows 7, and then for a little bit, Windows 8 and 8.1. I understand that, there's some little differences between Windows 7 and Windows 10, and just enough to drive someone crazy. So I'll try to, use some tech terms, so, if you do have problems with your computer, you can go to someone and say, and sound like you know what you're talking about. So, and that'll help them help you. And, pretty much at the end, if there are any further, questions that you guys have, and maybe any future, sessions you want covered, maybe, with through me, we can, sort of put that down and talk to people, see if more people are interested in something like this. So I guess I'll get started. Can everyone see my desktop with too many icons? So I wanted to start with Zoom, obviously. And what took me a little longer to change was I wanted to do a little screenshot of what I saw. Because what happens a lot of times when people are sharing their own screen, they're not sure, how to exit. And so I grabbed a few screenshots. I also found, a few websites through Zoom that you can go through, to learn a little bit more. And I was going to just briefly, go through these. So when you click the share screen button, these are sort of the options you have. You can choose your screen, which I just did. And then you always have to click the share button down below to actually share your screen. Or if there's a lot of times there's like open documents, like my Word document that I had for the agenda would show up down here. And you could select that and then share just the document. So that's why I had to stop share and then reshare, because all I was doing was sharing that one open document. And you can do stuff like that. So if you just want to show, like a YouTube video and you have, just that open, you don't want anyone else to see anything else, you can just share that. I like using that a lot of times for work, especially. The other sort of screenshot that I made just in case was this toolbar up here, and it is up on your screen usually. Allows you to mute yourself, stop your own video, which means your webcam, reach out to participants. You could do a chat. And the most important one is this stop share button. If you don't hit the stop share, a lot of times when you share your screen, everyone goes to full screen, so no one can really do anything beyond look at you. The one thing that you can do is hit this more button, and it'll allow, there's a bunch of options. One of the options is to exit full screen. So you could do that yourself. And so you can do, something else on your computer other than look at, who's sharing their screen with you. One thing that a lot of people get annoyed with is the annotate, but I'm probably going to actually use that for the Windows demonstration, circle things on my desktop and to demonstrate that feature. I think that was sort of what I was gonna talk about with Zoom. Does anyone, have any questions or, want to know something that's been puzzling them about Zoom? Yeah.
Yeah, Paul. I've tried to set up a profile picture so that when I turn off my video, it doesn't just say my name. And
right. So that's easy. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that on my screen. But if you go, do you see this window?
We're on mute, aren't we?
We only see your desktop.
You do? Okay. Let me try something here.
okay, because I have a profile picture in Zoom when I sign in. I mean, do you see a picture? Or you just see it says Eric
I
and
see your
Marty.
name.
Yeah, I can't get it to work.
So when I stop my video, I have a little photo here, right?
Right.
And so that's sort of what you want.
Yes.
So yeah, if you click on your profile within, I hope you can see the snapshot I made. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you go to the actual Zoom app, and then click on, it'll probably be your name instead of this, my picture here. And then you can go to my profile, and it'll open up a website, the Zoom website, and you'll have to sign in. And then from there, you should be able to change quite a bit. And the first thing that will pop up is your personal profile.
Now I do have a picture there where you have a picture.
You do.
Shouldn't that do it?
Let me look at one other thing. Okay, so under the Zoom app again, if there's a little like settings icon underneath your name or profile picture,
Okay.
and then if you go to profile again, maybe, I don't know what shows up there. Your name?
I would have to look after I get out of the full screen.
So one of the nice things about Zoom is, we could have you share your screen, and, I could walk you through, those steps. All right, so let me stop my share.
Okay.
I have a question, Paul. Oh, sorry, finish up with.
No, go ahead.
I mean, you can answer this later, but if I wanted to take a screenshot of his lovely faces on my screen right now, how do I do that?
Depends on what computer you're using. Are you on a Mac?
No.
Windows?
Yes.
So it depends on, what version of Windows 10. So with Windows 10, it's, Microsoft has decided, let's call everything Windows 10, regardless of what version of Windows it is. So I usually call it Windows 10 and beyond. So earlier versions of Windows 10, it was called the snipping tool. So if you go to the start menu, and I'll show you this, and type snipping.
One with, looks like a little birthday cake with the scissors.
Right, so you can use that and then click new, and then it'll be like crosshairs and you can just drag.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the best way to do it? I thought there was a better way.
That's sort of
Okay.
the easiest way for me. You can also do a screenshot of your whole window using the print screen button on your keyboard.
Where's the print screen button?
It either is the print screen button or
I see it.
function key and a camera icon.
Okay, thank you.
So they'll do literally the whole screen, not just what you want. And then you could, edit it in a photo tool to crop.
Okay, thanks.
That's why I like using the snipping tool the best, because you can control exactly what you want to capture.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, Paul, how do I share my screen so that you can see what I have?
So if you, hover your mouse over your face, a bottom toolbar should pop up. It says share screen. And then you should get another pop-up saying screen, and then click screen, and then there's a share button on the bottom right. So click share.
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Nope.
Oh,
Oops.
not intentionally. I apologize. Let's see if I can figure something out about that.
I just changed that, so try it now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You were able to do it because you're the co-host?
I think so.
So where did you change it?
So there's an arrow next to the share screen.
Yeah.
And it was set to one participant can share at a time. I changed it to multiple.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just have a photo.
All right, so if you go back to the actual Zoom app,
Zoom app. So not the web page?
correct.
Okay.
So you can minimize that.
Minimize that and maximize this.
And we might not see it because that's how Zoom does it.
I don't know. I can't.
So one thing you can try is go onto the top where it says view options. You can click exit full screen.
That's how we all feel.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
Let me do a few screenshots and maybe that'll help a little bit. So give me 2 seconds.
okay, or maybe if somebody has other questions, or if this would be helpful, I don't know.
I have a really easy question, Paul.
Yeah.
Under reactions, you can either clap or you can do a thumbs up. Is there a way to add other reactions?
Nope.
Okay.
Because I would. But that's what the chat feature is for.
Oh, if you have other reactions?
Yeah, like no one pays
Okay.
attention to those.
Okay.
At least no one in my meetings have.
Okay. Came up during my last one. Reactions. We could have more reactions. No, he just said no, but that's what we wanted.
All right. Okay, so yeah, if you go back to this app, sorry, I keep showing. Ugh. So yeah, if you go back to your Zoom app right here, and then if you see, this icon, the system tool icon, like the right below it is what you want to click on. So
It's the settings thing, right?
Yeah, is that settings?
yeah, that's settings within the app.
So this is like on an iPhone or something?
This is on my Windows machine, Windows computer.
Okay, because I have different one has settings on the side. It
So
looks different.
So yeah, when I click on the settings button, this is what pulls up. So this is the settings menu within the app. So then if you go to profile, you can then,
Here already.
whatever's up here, you can edit.
Can I share my screen again?
You can try. So yeah, that's the website again.
So, because I did this and I put the picture in my profile.
Right.
So how did you do that?
I Googled it. You have to have a login for Zoom.
Yeah,
And you can add this picture, and then it's supposed to use the picture when you turn your video off.
right. So there's, and I don't know if it's the same setting, but within the actual Zoom app on your computer, there's also a separate settings menu.
Okay, because I have settings over here on the left, and
Right,
then
that's different.
that's different. Okay, I'll poke around in the Zoom app.
I wish Zoom would show their own app during a
That'd be good.
screen.
Yeah,
but they don't.
okay, all right. That gave me a lead.
Paul, can you explain the difference between the app and the website?
Sort of. So for most cases, if you want something done with very simple options and features, use the settings within the app. If you want to go, if you're the one hosting meetings, you want to actually go to the settings on zoom.us because it gives you 1,000 more options to choose from when hosting and creating meetings.
How do you know which one you're on your computer? If you're on the site.
So when you're on the app, it won't open a new window on your default web browser.
Okay.
Say that, translate that. I'm not following that. So when we just click on the Zoom link, how are we getting in? Is it through the website or through the app?
It's through the app. So what I do to stop confusing myself is I don't really click on the Zoom links. I copy the meeting ID and click on join meeting in the app and paste the meeting ID into the app. That way I know I'm using the app.
Yeah, sure.
Because you end up using the app anyways. When you go click on the website link, it opens up in the browser, and then usually you get a prompt saying open in Zoom. That is the app. And
Okay,
if
so
you
how would
didn't
you,
have the app installed, it would prompt you to install it.
so how do you get to the app, let's say after this meeting, you get the end Zoom page?
Right, and then you close that, and there should be the app still open on your machine.
Okay, all right.
And I have, if we have a little time after, I do have some access to some better remote tools. And, we can go through it, or maybe offline go through some of the steps.
Okay, Paul, here's another question. Marty keeps disappearing into the pixels on her background. Why
Yes.
is that?
Go on again. Repeat it.
That always happens.
Because that feature is awful.
Yeah.
It's kind of cute, though.
That's our living room, Paul.
Good for playing hide and seek with grandchildren.
Yeah,
That's why we got it.
So, for example, I'll show you, what happens, when I do it. I feel like I have a pretty good solid white, wall behind me, yet Zoom doesn't recognize it all as white. So then, I'm barely seen. It's a clever idea and concept. And what Zoom suggests is, it's meant for professional use. So the idea is to have like literally a green screen behind you. So sort of like a weatherman. It's that technology. So it's not meant for, someone with various things in their background that they're trying to use an image instead.
Okay.
Because it's also trying to bring you out in front. So it's using the color of your wall or whatever's, behind you as the color that it's gonna take over. So when someone moves away a little bit, that's why people disappear, because it's using one little dot that it can find behind you. I
Paul,
hope
is there a
that,
way,
Go
okay,
ahead.
Paul, is there a way to use the marker board so that all of the participants can use it simultaneously?
what's that?
The marker board, you can bring up the whiteboard. Whiteboard. I should have said blackboard. Like virtual chalk. Can you do that so that any participant can use the same whiteboard?
Yeah,
Wow.
Is it just automatic?
I had
So
a,
that's you, right?
yeah,
So I could,
Here's the pencil.
okay, so, okay,
Here, maybe you need the pencil. No.
all right, wait, maybe there's something,
So how would we use it?
yeah,
No.
exactly. If you brought it up yourself, you could use it, but if like the host brings it up, I just don't know how you would,
it depends on a lot of things. Because when I host, I can get, it depends on how the meeting was created. Because
sorry.
a lot of times I can, allow other people to use it and it's just possible. So I don't, there should be a menu to choose what items to select. Do you guys see that?
No.
So if you go on the top where it says the more button, there should be like maybe a whiteboard button. Do you see that at all?
No, all I see is view. Oh, wait, maybe.
View options.
Few options, yeah.
Yeah, and then just the name of the meeting.
So I could technically like give you guys access to move my mouse. So Dad, now try.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so how did you do that again? That's,
Wow.
wait, who's doing that?
That's me.
Oh, wait, let me
So
try.
we still can't do it.
Yeah, I
So
still can't.
I had to
can
give,
manipulate. I can manipulate the pencil, the edit tool.
right, I had to
Oh,
give
there we go.
rights to use my mouse and keyboard.
So it would be to one person at a time.
For this particular meeting, but
Okay.
there's like within the website settings of hosting a meeting, you can change that.
Okay. Thank you. You can take back control now,
I would like to,
please.
but someone keeps doing something.
Stop it.
Wait, I'm not the only one. I don't think I'm the only one.
Stop.
Hand is off.
All right.
You want to play Pictionary or something? Or is this the application?
So could I ask a question about Google Docs?
Sure.
I did something and then I wanted to undo it on the Google Doc. And so I went into File, Undo, and it wouldn't undo it. What was I doing wrong? Edit, I'm sorry, Edit, Undo.
So within Google Docs, there's usually versions you can go back to.
There's what, please?
It's called versions. So you can look at the history of the document and then go back versions.
Okay.
So that would have been to the original when she first got it, but if you're like in the middle, you can't just step back one change.
You should be able to.
Do you remember seeing version?
Well, that would have been just to where it was when you pulled it up.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I was gonna open something up here.
I
Just
should get on my
random
computer and see if I
document.
can do it right now.
So is that in Google Docs?
This
Yeah,
is in
we're
Google
now in
Docs.
Google Docs, yeah. So if you can just delete a line and then undelete it, Paul, maybe? It automatically saves everything.
You have that problem too?
I would just go back in and edit it, but hopefully I would know where I would need to go back, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if I remember what words were in that particular line, I can just type them back in. That's what I would do.
It's funny because I use, I get so confused because I use something else. So if you just recently made a change, you should be able to just do a regular undo.
That's what I did and it wouldn't undo it.
So the
but
line
if you
that
go
was,
to file and then version history, see version history, and then you should see, a whole list of, versions of the file.
Okay, so I brought the file up. Now, where did you get version? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sure.
under file,
So yeah, if you go to file and then version history and then see version history.
see version.
It's
So
not
you
there.
can see yesterday's. Did yours have like track changes all over it?
No, it's not there.
And the
Well,
other
which-
place I see it is like right up here, last edited by, the person who edited it last.
Go back.
Yeah, see, every change you make is automatically saved.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, what it says is every change you make is automatically saved in Drive.
Yep.
So it makes the tool less useful if,
Yeah, the good thing about it is it's shared, so anyone can go in and edit it, but I think this is sort of a drawback.
Well,
Because you could go back to an earlier version, but you'd be deleting a lot of stuff.
one of the
maybe you didn't
things
want to
that,
delete.
I always suggest if multiple people are editing the document is tell people to hit the drop down here and type suggesting instead of editing. That way you can see who wants to change what. And then only one person actually makes the change, edits the document.
where is that, Paul?
On the right-hand side.
Oh, we can't see the right hand because all the people are there.
You can
can't
drag
drag them.
that.
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
move it.
So
Go ahead.
right here,
Oh, editing, okay.
and then suggesting or viewing. So you could just set it to suggesting, and then it sort of just does comments and everything.
Edits becomes, where was that?
Sharing.
Over on the right-hand
On the
side.
right-hand side, upper right-hand side, it says editing. You may have to move the
No, that's not what you want.
cameras.
Editing.
Oh,
And so what happens if you use suggesting instead of editing? Then how does that work if there's 3 or 4 people working on something?
Right. So that's not everyone. Very few people utilize this, but so like if I
what do I do?
added my last name, it then
Bringing it back.
shows that I made that change.
It's
Yeah.
kind of messy that way, though.
But
Yes.
then whoever is like the master owner of this file, can change that and accept it. And then it's regular text or just
Got it.
delete it.
Paul, did you see that there was a question in the chat box?
No, because yes.
Okay. Can everybody see the chat? Does everybody know where the chat is? There's a question there that Paul can maybe
Mhm.
address.
Webinar.
What is webinar?
I was going to ask that.
Webinar.
I don't know if Jackie can hear us or not.
Now I'm curious.
She's muted.
I'm unmuted.
Oh, okay.
You're unmuted. Now you're remuted.
There it is.
Oh, webinar.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
webinar is a meeting like Zoom. I belong to a professional organization and they use webinar. And so when I get that number, I get this message that I wrote in the box. So
Right.
I was wondering what to do about that. I call in instead, but what kind of harm would that do to my computer?
Well, whoops. Like me, I just clicked on a link by accident. Do you click on the link that they give you, or do you search for something to install something?
She's muted
It's a
again.
pretty common thing, webinar.
Webinar is sort of generic.
Barb, it's not a webinar. It's
No,
it's a
I know it's from GoToMeeting. It used to be called
Yeah.
webinar. Yeah,
right.
it's pretty common though.
Maybe it's just her antivirus or something.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm guessing.
Okay, thank you.
Little knowledge is dangerous here.
Yeah.
All right, little guy. You want it up? You want to go?
Yeah, it's hard to pick her up.
Right. Any other
Paul,
questions about
When
Zoom?
you brought up that whiteboard before that you and your
Yeah.
dad were trying to figure out who controlled it, how did you bring up that whiteboard?
Same place how I shared my screen. I
Okay.
click share screen, and then we have options like screen, whiteboard, and then any open documents you have open.
Nice.
Whiteboard's one of those options.
So mine, when I click on share screen, that little caret next to it, it doesn't, the only offers are one participant, multiple, or advanced. And if I go to
Right.
advanced, it doesn't say anything about a whiteboard or anything like that.
So if you actually click on the share screen button.
Oh,
not the
okay.
arrow.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Where is he?
He's in the app. I think he's still trying to get this. So just because you have the profile, the photo,
Uh-huh.
somehow you gotta activate it.
Well. You're back.
All right. Can everyone see this image?
Your desktop.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the image of my desktop.
Yes.
All
Yep.
right.
Oh, because he's looking.
Yeah.
This is what he sees.
Yeah. Increase overlay.
So the bottom here, what tech people call it is the system tray, where the time is. Where all the available, system, basic system settings. So like you see the wireless symbol here, my battery icon, we call all of this the system tray.
Mhm.
So, if you have problems with something by, the clock, I usually like, to show people this up arrow right here. Because there's a lot, like if you have an app that's always running, like Zoom here, Zoom's running because I'm in the meeting. Um, my parents' favorite, One Touch. Um, Semantic endpoint protection. It gives you an overview of, really what's running on your machine relatively consistently. So if something's happening with your computer, it's most likely within the system tray that we like to look at first. And obviously, here's the network information. Just an easy way to get to it. Everyone know how to, create shortcuts on the desktop?
Sometimes.
What confuses a lot of people is this start menu here. Microsoft has decided to call this the Microsoft menu instead now with Windows 10. With Windows 7 and XP, it used to say start. It's sort of the same thing. What I like about it, though, is that now you can do just a quick search. For example, Zoom. And then whatever's related to that, it pops up immediately. I generally do that over, going to apps and trying to find an app that way. I always do it just a search, a plain search. Sort of like what we were talking about early, or the snipping tool. I love this snipping tool. So with my version of Windows 10, they decided that they're getting rid of the snipping tool, and I'm not a fan. There's this new tool called Snip and Sketch. Who's going to remember that? I never remember that. I have to type snipping tool and then open this and then try snipping whatever it's called. But the other place I like to show people, especially if you're having problems, is there's a few ways to get there. And that's, it's called system properties. It's like information about your computer. So one way is I open up the File Explorer, right click on this PC. So right click, not left click. Go all the way down to properties. I don't know if Zoom lets you see this.
That's it.
But it gives you basic information. So it tells you what type of Windows version, very basic information, how much memory, what the computer name is it activated, very basic information. Now with Windows 10, so this was sort of like the old Windows 7 view. So Windows 10 decided, let's keep that, but create a new interface. So that interface is through settings. So if you type settings in the search, you get the settings app. And this gives you sort of a different view. And if you go to system and scroll all the way down to about, you get similar information. So you get the computer name, Windows 10 Pro. But what's important here is a lot of us like, sort of what I was talking about earlier, is Microsoft has decided to make Windows 10 and beyond. So, you know, what, 4 years ago, you know, Windows 10 was around still, but it was a different version of Windows 10. So each version number has different settings, features, options.
So Paul, these are all the updates that automatically get made, right? Is the
That's
version?
different. So updates is different than versions.
Okay.
So technically a version is like an upgraded operating system. So you have to treat that as an upgrade. So, you know, if your computer says, oh, there's an upgrade, you know, my suggestion is always back everything up on an external drive, you know, delete anything that you're not going to use anymore, you know, and then upgrade. So it really is, it's like a new operating system.
Okay. I've got an update question. Can I ask it now, or do you want to go through?
Ask it now.
Okay. So for about 6 months, my computer's trying to update to version 1903. Or no, 1909. It's not. That's why I thought that was 1909. And it just fails to install each time, and then the computer won't boot into Windows.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hit one of the function buttons. I can't remember which one to hit, so I just hit them all, and eventually it'll undo whatever the update was, because it can't install. So my last one was actually 1803.
So sort of like what I sort of said already, and I'll say a little differently. So the problem is that Microsoft really doesn't explain this very well. Each version is literally a new operating system. So what could very well be a problem is that your computer, like the what I call it hardware. So like, you know, the keys on your laptop or the sound coming from your speakers, it's all hardware. Well, drivers with the new operating system might not be compatible with your older device. And could be why, you know, when you always try to upgrade to 1909, it's saying we can't do this, something's not working right. It could also be a piece of software that you have installed that's incompatible with 1909 for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But usually it's hardware. So generally I suggest not upgrading.
Well, I try not to. And I
But
used
it
to be
sort of
able to
makes
delay it, but I can't anymore. I just
Right.
keep doing it.
It sort of makes you, and that's, you know, at a certain point, I don't know how old your computer is.
It's only a couple of years old, but
Because right now, what I tell people is any more than 4 years on a laptop, especially a laptop, and you start having problems, buy a new one.
yeah. I think mine's 2 years old. It might be 3, but 2, I think.
Can you turn off automatic updates?
I try to do all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Microsoft has decided they want you to upgrade all the time.
Yeah.
You can try to turn it off, but it'll always pop back up.
Yeah, I tried, there was a Windows Update troubleshooter, and it said there was a potential Windows Update database error, and told me to repair the database corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really seems to make any difference. So that goes to your next item about backing up, though. So I don't have a external hard drive anymore.
So I can talk about that. So what I generally suggest is getting something at least double the size of your current hard drive. You know, and when I search for something like that, I'm really always on Amazon. So, you know, I usually do a search for like external hard drive, and you know how it searches itself. It you know does featured search or whatever on top. I always go to average customer review and look at the top few. You know, I generally have never had like problems with Seagate. And there's a few other brands that are pretty reliable, but most of them are pretty reliable. You know, I generally tell people to always have some sort of backup, whether it's, you know, external hard drive or, you know, somewhere on the cloud like Google Drive or some, you know, something like Box or Dropbox or some way to, you know, back up files that you know you don't want to lose. Because you never know, sort of what you're talking about, you never know when something's going to happen to your computer. And even for me, I'd never know when something's going to crap out. You know, this computer that I'm using had Windows 8.1, and obviously I upgraded to Windows 10, and at least once a month now, I have trouble with my webcam. Something with the version of Windows 10 that I have on here with the hardware of my webcam and the drivers are not really compatible with Windows 10. And so it'll crap out on me. I have to remove the driver and re-add. And it'll work for a period of time. So yeah, there's no real easy answer except, you know, what I tell people is back up your data. Because really, you never know.
Yeah, I have a backup question. I was reading and I was surprised to read this, but it makes sense. I don't know if it's completely true though. It says don't back up to a solid state drive because that's not permanent, like a mechanical drive.
Huh.
Right.
It only lasts like maybe 9 months or a year, and then it'll fade out.
Right. So the best external drives out there are what I call spinning disk. So anything that you read that says STATA drive, that's the one you want to get.
What is it?
It's called STATA.
STATA drive. Okay.
And those are going to be a little more expensive though, but you want to spend that money. You want the physical spinning disk versus the SSD, the solid state drive. Because that's all that is like is you know, if you can, you know, picture all the SIM cards that go in your phone or camera, that's all it is. It's a little card. And so those don't last.
So
They're
what
faster.
I did is you could buy the solid state drive and then you put that in the computer and use the old drive as the backup drive.
Yep. But I usually don't do that either because if it's old drive, I don't trust it.
And what about a really big flash drive?
Same idea as the SSD drive.
Yeah.
You don't trust it
Okay.
for long term.
Okay.
You know, obviously at my job, you know, I have one on my key ring, but you know, I tend to have to format it quite frequently because it gets corrupted.
Huh. So, and using the cloud instead?
You have to be. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned Dropbox, but I don't necessarily trust Dropbox for important information.
Like
So you have to be, yeah, you really have to be careful with cloud storage and do your research.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot out there that, you know, is really supports secure information. So external drives are the you know, number one method. But if you have stuff that you want to keep that's, you know, not as important to you, yeah, cloud storage as a backup is fine. You know, like a lot of my, or not a lot, but some of my photos are, you know, online. But quite a few are on external drives as well. They're not, none of them are on my actual computer because I don't trust hard drives on my computer. That can go anytime.
Are there external drives now that are Bluetooth, so you don't have to connect them physically?
There might be like, wireless
Yeah.
connectivity or something, but I wouldn't suggest it.
Okay,
I would always go the wired method.
okay.
What I used to suggest a long time ago was even, have a external drive that had its own power source.
Mhm.
Because at the time, the USB connections didn't produce a whole lot of power. So to keep that consistently powered, I didn't always trust that, but technology has improved. So
I am very sorry to interrupt you. I need to leave to go to run another meeting, and I don't know if the only option it's giving me is end meeting. And unless it's going to say once I click it that Paul, then you can continue to lead it. I don't know what else really to do here.
you might just,
Since Paul's the co-host, could we all just log back in?
This I don't know.
right.
I'm gonna end the meeting on my end, and I apologize, but I have to go to do another meeting.
Okay.
We will try to get back on if we get knocked out.
Right.
Well, it won't be on the same.
No, it won't be the same ID. Yeah.
It won't be the
Oh,
same
'cause you
link
need
because
an
that's
ID for the next
and I have to do another meeting.
Ah, okay. Well,
All
do
right, so
people
I
still
will
have
call them.
questions for Paul? Because he can answer them separately.
I
There aren't that
apologize.
many of us.
I have a wireless question. I don't
Well,
know if
maybe
it's,
you can give everybody another link,
Yeah.
or maybe it'll keep going. I'm gonna leave the meeting and see if Paul can continue it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, we're still here.
We are.
Yep.
Well, good, because
It
the
worked.
co-hosting thing.
It worked.
Okay.
okay. Just, I don't know if this is an easy or difficult question. With my wireless, like when I want to do Zoom, sometimes I would plug in my cable from my router to get a better bandwidth. But then it messed up my wireless that when I unplugged it, then it wouldn't work anymore.
Hmm.
And I had to delete the driver and reinstall the driver. It was really a pain, so I haven't challenged it to do it again. Does that sound like something easy or?
Well, so since I've been, working from home, I've been on the TV and my game system for a lot more than I usually am. And I've actually hooked those up to, my router directly, through a wired connection. Because before that, actually all those things overtook my wireless and I had to keep rebooting my router because it was just too much for it. I think it depends on, what router you have and what, company you're using, what ISP you're using.
Yeah, it's Spectrum. I don't know, something when I plug in, it changes something on my computer. So that when I unplug, then I can't go wireless.
So there could be a setting. Yeah, I don't have a Ethernet port on my laptop, but so I can't really look. But usually how it works is, especially on laptops that do have that connection, I do know that automatically it'll disconnect usually from your wireless when you're doing that.
Right.
The other thing to check for is, before you're connected, before you connect to the wireless, there should be a checkbox to say stay connected. If that's not selected, that could be the reason why it disconnects when you connect to the wired connection. Is it just your laptop that loses connection, or is it just the whole wireless signal that goes out?
It doesn't happen with Marty's. She plugs in, unplugs, but when I go wired and it's fine, and then I unplug it, I can't go wired. The wireless won't work anymore.
Huh,
And I have to get rid of the driver and reinstall the wireless driver. And it changes some of the settings or something.
right. Yeah, I would have to look at it.
Okay, I just don't go wired anymore.
Either.
Yeah.
Make
One
your
of the
life
que-
easier.
One
Yeah.
of the questions I like asking a lot, how old is your laptop?
It's
New.
brand new.
Oh, okay. No
but
excuses.
Maybe it has bugs in it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Or it's the Ethernet cable you're using.
Well, but I'm using it on mine. My computer is older than his, and it doesn't happen on mine.
Yeah, it must be some sort of network setting or something.
Yeah.
It could
Okay.
be a hardware issue too. If it's brand new, I would
Yeah.
maybe reach out to the support if it's still under warranty,
Yeah. Okay.
because it could be a hardware issue.
I've got a wireless printer question.
No.
What type of computer and what type of printer?
It's an Asus computer
Okay.
and a Canon printer, and I can print from my iPad and my phone just fine. And it used to print from the computer to the printer without being connected, but now it keeps saying it's unavailable or it's not on, I guess. If I go back and plug the USB back in, it's just fine.
Right. You might have to just reinstall the printer on your computer
Okay, yeah, I thought that might be
with the wireless settings.
okay.
A lot of manufacturers have their own like install wizard to help you.
Yeah, I think it does actually. I don't know why it would.
I don't like using it,
lost,
but some people like them. Because I have a brother, and I love it. I don't have any problems.
Really, because I
I
really like this Canon. I had one, and it really got terrible. I called Canon. Surprisingly, they sent me a new one.
Oh wow.
But I'm really not pleased with it. So you've got a brother that you like?
Yep.
Is it a color printer too?
No, it's black and white laser.
Okay. It's funny, when I considered buying a new one, no matter where I went looking for reviews, everybody hated their printers.
That I hate printers too.
Yeah.
One of my first jobs out of school was dealing with printers all day long. I got tired of it pretty quick.
Oh, I bet.
Any other questions or thoughts or?
Thanks, Paul. We're gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. So
That was awesome.
you're probably not doing home visits now, though, are you?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate the
Bye.
help.
So, Paul, that was really good and very helpful. And I'm glad that we have the recording, because I'm sure people will watch it.
Right.
Great.
Right.
So thank you very much.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
Have a
Have a good night.
evening.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.